Hello, Michelle, the health coach here. I'm Michelle Sala. I'm an integrative health coach and true cellular detox practitioner. And today I would like to talk about the four-letter word diet. How would you like to never have to diet ever again, but achieve the health that you're looking for? Well, that is what I'd like to talk about today. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here so you can see my slides. So yes, diet is something that really scares people away. A lot of us think we need to go on a diet, that we need to lose weight. We hate the sound of that word diet. We think we're going to be deprived, we're going to be hungry, we're going to be having to eat salads and celery sticks. And for the period of time that it's going to take for us to lose the weight that we think we want to lose. But then what happens is everybody returns to their old habits and goes back to eating the same way. So a diet is really usually a short-term thing, and most people gain their weight back. So today we're going to talk about how to get this four-letter word out of your life. So what I like to tell my clients is you don't lose weight to get healthy, you get healthy to lose weight. Probably 90% of my clients are on at least one prescription medication. And the majority of those prescriptions are for something that can be resolved with lifestyle changes. But do their doctors ever show them or tell them how to reverse these conditions? No. And the reason is because most doctors think that their patients are not going to comply, or quite frankly, doctors don't really understand how to educate their patients to make long-lasting lifestyle changes. So I have people that come to me for weight loss purposes. I have people that come to me because they've got certain symptoms and they don't necessarily need to lose weight. But I educate my clients on healthy lifestyle and eating, and pretty much both the client that needs to lose 100 pounds and the client that doesn't need to lose an ounce but has symptoms that they want to get rid of, they're basically on the same type of eating plan. So notice I'm not saying diet, because diet is something temporary and it's a four-letter word. And we want lasting results, something that's going to last us a lifetime, and something that we can fall back on even if we do stray a little bit. So some of the lies that we've been told about dieting and weight loss, probably the biggest thing I hear is, I went to a nutritionist, I went to a dietitian, and they said, eat several small meals a day. It helps to even out blood sugar. And that is what I've been told. Or I hear my sister went to a dietitian and that's what they were told. Well, ask yourself, did that person or did you have lasting results? The problem with eating several small meals a day is you're never eating enough at one time to really satisfy you. So you're going to be hungry, and you're going to be hungry again in 2 to 3 hours. Your body is always in digestion mode, because if you've always got something in your stomach, then you're always, your energy is going towards digestion instead of other activities that you want to do. The more often you eat, the more often your insulin is raised. And we're going to talk about it very shortly, how constantly raised insulin is a problem. If your body always has food in your stomach and is always processing food, your metabolism is never going to tap into your fat stores, because it knows in 2 or 3 hours it's going to get another meal. And really, there is no scientific evidence that eating several small meals a day increases your metabolic rate. So think about 60 years ago. Think about your grandparents or even your parents and how they ate. they ate white bread and they ate desserts. So my mom, who is French Canadian, would tell us that her mother made dessert every single night, and they ate bread every single meal, and none of them were fat, none of them were overweight. Now, they did have things like cardiovascular disease, but nobody in my immediate family had a weight problem. So why is that? Why could people 60 or more years ago who ate white bread and ate desserts every day, how did they get around this without being obese? Well, if you look at this graph, every time you eat, so we're looking at 3 meals a day. So let's say we eat breakfast at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, and you get a rise in blood sugar and you get a rise in insulin, but then that gap between breakfast and lunch, so lunch is at noon, so you've got a 5 or 6 hour gap of no eating. So then your insulin is going to dip, and we want those insulin dips. That's what your body was made to do. So then they ate lunch, and that was a bigger meal, and there was a rise in insulin. And again, 1 to maybe 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, people didn't eat. And so again, you had a 5-hour window where you didn't eat. And then you stopped eating at 7, and you didn't eat again until 7 o'clock in the morning. So you have this fasting period of about 12 hours where your insulin takes a big dip. And this is healthy. This is what your body was meant to do. But that is not what we do anymore. Now, people are told to eat several small meals a day, or people are just eating several meals a day because we're snacking in between breakfast, and we're snacking in between lunch and dinner. And then people are snacking in the evening when they watch TV mindlessly. So now people are eating up until 10, 11 o'clock at night, maybe. And then that period of sleep is 6, 7 hours at the most, that there is this period where your insulin actually takes a dip. And you know what this causes? It causes insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is the precursor for diabetes and other inflammatory conditions. So insulin is a fat storage hormone that will eventually lead to obesity if you're eating several small meals a day or 3 regular meals and snacks in between. Insulin is also an inflammatory hormone. You will eventually turn into a type 2 diabetes type 2 diabetic, if you eat the way you want to. You will eventually be put on a statin drug because it will raise your cholesterol. It will lead to cardiovascular disease. We see a lot of peripheral neuropathy, even in pre-diabetics. And this is such a huge misnomer about pre-diabetes, is people think that they're still safe. They're not quite there. And their doctor will tell them, let's keep an eye on them, but they're on your blood sugar and your pre-diabetes. But what happens is nobody changes their habits, and they eventually become a type 2 diabetic, which is tragic because even in the pre-diabetic stage, people are already doing damage to the organs, to those tiny capillaries, and that's why you start getting that pain and that neuropathy. And if you've got any kind of cancer situation going on in your body, this insulin resistance is going to feed the cancer. So some other lies that we've been told about weight loss is that fat makes you fat, and there could be nothing from the truth. This was bad science that came about in the 50s, and you have to look at who was backing the science then. The science is never the science. You have to look at who is paying for the study. because people, scientists, big business cherry picks results in order to put forward their interests, which are always financial. Fat does not make you fat. Then we hear if you just eat more fruits and vegetables, but do people actually lose weight? No, because they're not changing the other things that they're eating. So if you're eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of high carb foods, and all you're doing is adding more fruits and vegetables, you're not going to achieve weight loss. We've also heard that whole grains are healthy. There's a lot of problems with whole grains. Whole grains are still very refined, and they are in a consistency or that still raises your blood sugar, which is going to raise your insulin. So if you're eating toast for breakfast, whole wheat toast for breakfast, and you're eating a sandwich for lunch, and you're eating a roll with your dinner, you're just adding carbs that are not helping to reduce your insulin and your blood sugar. Another lie that we are told is if you just move more and eat less. So this is also, calories in, calories out. But if the quality of your food is crap, moving more and eating less is not going to give you health. And remember, we want to get healthy to lose weight. We don't want to lose weight to get healthy. And then another lie we're told is just about portion control. And I hear this all the time. I hear people say, I know what I need to do. It's just portion control. But if you're eating crap, if you're eating processed food, if you're eating out all the time, portion control is not going to give you health. You can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. You might think you're getting away with it when you're young. We know a lot of kids, teenagers, people in their 20s, and they eat pizza and hamburgers and French fries and they're thin. But I promise you, if you are eating a standard American diet, it will eventually catch up with you and you will end up with some kind of chronic condition because of the disease. And we also hear about athletes that die, that have blockages that they don't know about in their heart. And they think because they look good on the outside that it doesn't matter what they put on the inside. So what you look like on the inside can be very different than what you look like on the outside. All right, some eating strategies for health. So we're going to refer to these eating strategies instead of diet. So these are tools that are going to last you a lifetime. And one of the most powerful strategies is intermittent fasting. The next strategy is low carb, high fat eating, which is pretty much keto eating. So you've heard of the ketogenic diet, that's low carb, high fat. Block fasting is also a great strategy. So think about a block of time where you're only drinking water with maybe some salt and some electrolytes. And by electrolytes, I don't mean Gatorade, I mean a combination of sodium, magnesium, and potassium. And people will block fast for 24 hours or more. I know of somebody who was so sick and had so many food issues that he dry fasted, didn't even drink water for like 21 days. And yes, it is possible. And then there's diet variation, which is another eating strategy for health that is basically a combination of these things. Above it, food quality is key. So I teach my clients what is food quality, what are the foods that works for them, because not every food is great for everybody. And that's what I help them to discover. So let's talk about intermittent fasting in a little bit more detail. So even 12 hours is considered good amount of time for intermittent fasting. I like to push myself and my clients a little farther out. So 15 to 18 hours of fasting is good. And you can't do this right off the bat. You have to get yourself to a point where you're lowering your carbs and you're able to withstand this amount of time. And it's like an exercise that you can work up to. And once you get there, you'll find that it's very easy. So if somebody does a pretty good job of, they stop eating at 7 and then they and they wake up and eat breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning. I encourage them to skip breakfast and see how long they can go without eating. So if you can get to like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, you're in that 15, maybe even 17-hour range. Think about your eating as an eating window. So maybe a 6-hour eating window or an 8-hour eating window. A lot of people are very successful at eating 2 meals a day. I'd say for the most part, I'm a 2-meal-a-day person. Maybe sometimes I'll have a small snack between that midday or that late morning meal and dinner time. And there's a lot of people that do really well with 1 meal a day. And so maybe they do all their eating within an hour and they have the same amount of calories as the person who's eating 2 meals a day or the person who's eating during that eating window. So it's not about calorie reduction. It's about just eating all of your calories for the day during that time period. The benefits of intermittent fasting is like the biggest one is it is so powerful in reversing insulin resistance. And once you reverse insulin resistance, then you can start reversing type 2 diabetes. It will improve your lipid profile, your cholesterol will go down, your triglycerides will go down. Your cravings will be reduced because every time your insulin raises and drops, you crave things. It really improves your mental clarity because once you're in that zone of intermittent fasting, all your blood sugar is low, you start producing ketones. And that's when you're in the benefits of a ketogenic diet is you start producing ketones, and those ketones fuel your brain. Your brain loves ketones, and people experience mental clarity and energy without eating a lot. And often I used to suffer from hypoglycemia and I just thought that was me and I needed to eat all the time. But what I was eating in order to get over the hypoglycemia was foods that were too high glycemic. So I was fueling my hypoglycemia. And if I went like 4 or 5 hours without food, I would be hangry and cranky. And I would be like, I need to eat now or somebody's going to die. I have zero hypoglycemia now. I can go hours and hours. So if I'm out and about and I haven't had lunch and I don't have any access to food, I know that I can go another hour or two. I'm not going to lose my mind. The other benefits of intermittent fasting is weight loss and autophagy. So what autophagy means is auto eating. It's your body eating itself, but it's not your body eating your body. It's your body eating bad cells, toxin, damaged stuff hanging out in your body. And so this autophagy and this auto eating of these bad cells is so therapeutic. It's great for people that have chronic conditions going on, people that are undergoing cancer treatment, it actually can enhance their cancer treatment because cancer cells are glucose obligate. They can only eat, they need glucose for fuel, whereas the rest of the cells in your body, if you are not giving it any glucose, it does just fine on ketones. So here's an example of a high carb meal versus a low carb meal. So each meal has about the same amount of calories. The one on the left, the high carb meal, has 473 calories. The one on the right has 468 calories. So this is where the whole calories, a calorie is a calorie, totally goes out the window, because this high carb meal has 102 total carbohydrates in it. That is a lot of sugar that your body has to deal with. Now, maybe if you were going on a 50-mile bike ride, or you were going to run for 10 miles, maybe if you ate that and immediately went out and did some high intensity activity, your body would deal with all those carbs, 97 net grams of carbs. But the average person who's eating a meal like that isn't going out and running and riding their bike a long distance. So if we look at the low carb meal, we've got only 22 grams of carbohydrates, 7 grams of sugar. So that's 14 net grams of carbs. And how we get to the net grams is we subtract the fiber from the carbs, because we don't actually digest the fiber. It just goes in and it goes out. So with a meal that is only 22 grams of carbs, or 14 grams of net carb, you're going to have to produce very little insulin in order to deal with the blood sugar raise, because it's not going to be very high, of that low carb, high fat meal. Whereas on the other side, you're going to have this huge blood sugar surge, huge insulin surge, and all of that extra carbohydrates and sugar in your blood is just going to be stored as fat. So this is why calories in, calories out, a calorie is a calorie, does not work, and it's a big lie. So my eating tips are: don't eat if you're not hungry. And I have a typo there. So that's don't eat if you're not hungry. Then you want to increase your intermittent fasting time from 12 to 15 to maybe 18 hours. Just push it out and see how you feel. It's a very personalized thing. See if you're getting the results. Are you losing weight? Do you have more energy? Do you have more mental clarity? It just depends on you. I really encourage people to try block fasting. I like to do it from dinner to dinner. So if you eat dinner and then you wake up in the morning, drink water, you can add a little sea salt to your water. That can help with electrolyte balance, and also if you're starting to feel a little bit hungry, and then you eat dinner that next night. And I think that's much easier than going breakfast to breakfast fast. Then there's diet variation, where you mix it up. So let's say you're doing low carb for Monday through Friday, low carb / keto Monday through Friday. On Saturday, you can maybe eat 3 meals a day. It pushes you out of ketosis, which is fine. You don't have to be all keto all the time to have results with a ketogenic diet or a low carb diet. And then on Sunday, you do your dinner to dinner fast. So maybe you don't eat Saturday, you eat dinner on Saturday evening, and then you don't eat again until Sunday evening, and you just drink water on Sunday. But you can mix it up. Monday, I think, is also a good day to have your fasting day. It kind of is a reset from the weekend if you've kind of overdone it over the weekend. And then try one meal a day every once in a while, which is basically the same as the block fasting. But maybe you have coffee, maybe you're not really in a true fasting state. So there's a tool that I highly recommend all my clients, and I use this myself. It's called the Keto Mojo, and it measures both glucose and ketones. And I have a lot of people that say, oh, I tried the keto diet and it didn't work for me. They probably never got into ketosis, or maybe their they were producing ketones but their blood sugar still wasn't low enough because they were still too insulin resistant. Or another thing is people don't, they just don't even know if they're in ketosis. I have people that use the little urine strips to measure ketones, but once your body gets into ketosis and is efficiently utilizing ketones, then the ketone strips don't really work anymore. That's why you have to test blood. And I had one more point I was going to make here, but this is it's a really valuable tool. And I've had clients say, I've bugged them for 3 months to purchase a Keto Mojo. And when they finally start using it, they say, I wish I would have listened to you 3 months ago. So I do have a link, an affiliate link. It's the bit.ly/Keto Mojo Sala. If you would like to purchase it, there is a package that right now is, I think, like $90.99. It's really the best value. You get the monitor, the Lancet device, you get 70 strips of both the ketone strips and the glucose strips. And there's a Kickstarter guide. It's actually a much better package than when I first bought one about 2 years ago. So it's a great value and you won't be sorry, especially if you've got certain health goals. And not just weight loss, but if you're dealing with cancer or some other chronic condition, I highly recommend the Keto Mojo. So some of the benefits of working with me as a health coach is you're never on a diet. I educate my clients about lifestyle and what is truly healthy food. I give people that tools that last a lifetime. I teach them how to eat real food. There's no gimmicks. There's no packaged food. Everything is stuff you go to the grocery store and make from scratch. And making things from scratch doesn't mean time consuming. And that's what I also show my clients. My clients are never hungry. They do not feel deprived. I think a lot of them find that they get to eat a lot more food than they ever imagined. Most of my clients are able to get off meds or reduce their meds. And I promise you, you will look and feel younger. I can't tell you how many clients I have. And every time I see them, I can't get over how they are just turning back the clock in years. So remember, you don't lose weight to get healthy. You get healthy to lose weight. And the weight, I promise, just falls off when you focus on what is true healthy food for you. So you can contact me at michellesala.com. That's my email address. You can go to my website, michellesala.com, and my phone number is 801-410-0727. I hope to hear from you soon. I hope you found this information informative, and I will see you out there. Thanks. Bye.